Hi there, this is Chris from Motolegends, the chap in the cap, here today to talk to you about a waxed cotton jacket from Belstaff. It's called the McGee jacket. This is the McGee jacket from Belstaff. Now, across the Belstaff range, there are three different lengths of jacket, really. There's the short version, as typified by the Mojave. It's a lovely jacket, very sporty, very Steve McQueen. The problem is that if you sit on the bike at times, depending on your dimensions, but if you're leant forward at all over a cafe racer, it can leave a gap between the top of your jeans and the bottom of the jacket, allows cold air to come in, can allow rain to come in, and of course it increases the chances that if you did go down the road, there'd be exposed skin. The longest jacket is the Trial Master or the Tour Master. Works really well, big central belt. It's a classic jacket that goes back to the days of people like Sammy Miller, but it's not so comfortable on the bike because at times the jacket just curls around you as you sit on the seat. It's not as comfortable. It can create a kind of stretch across the center portion here. The perfect length of jacket, as far as we're concerned, within the Belstaff range is the Crosby length. It's long enough so it covers the belt line, but it's not so long that you end up sat on it and it doesn't become uncomfortable. So the starting point for this is we like the length. We think this is the best length within the Belstaff range. Now, this is the latest iteration of the McGee. It was designed to pass the CE regulations, the latest EN 17092 regulations. Now, they had a version of this jacket last year, and what they did to get through the rules, they developed a material with British Millerain that was called technical wax cotton. In essence, technical wax cotton is a cotton fibre and a synthetic fibre, one in the warp, one in the weft, creates a single layer that's stronger than wax cotton in its own right, and that was strong enough to pass the CE tests. But the version that they did in 2019 did not work because they hadn't perfected the technique and the synthetic material just did not absorb the wax when they put the wax on the final product. It made for a very thick, heavy jacket. It looked greasy, and when you put your hands on it, it left marks on your fingers. You would not want to have sat down in a nice car with leather seats because it would have left marks on it. So this is the latest version. They've managed to solve that problem. They still call it technical wax cotton, but there's no residue. This jacket looks, as you would expect, a lightly waxed wax cotton jacket to look. In terms of the features on this jacket, the styling cues, pretty much the same as you'd find on most Belstaff jackets. So I'm talking about things like the corduroy that lines the collar that you'll also find inside the sleeves. You'll have a check lining. Again, that's been classic across wax cotton jackets from both Belstaff and Barbour for many years. In terms of adjusters on this particular jacket, you've got the famous belt buckle here on the neck that you also find on the Mojave, but also on the Trial Master and the Tour Master. What we particularly like, this is where the adjuster is on a Crosby, but it's particularly nice on the McGee because for the first time ever, it's got an elastication that enables you to tighten it. So whereas you've got the belt adjusters that on the Crosby just pull the material in, this is gathering the jacket. It makes for a much nicer fit. Obviously, you've got YKK zips throughout because Belstaff wouldn't work with anybody else. In terms of pockets, you've got two flap pockets here, two flap pockets down below, and you have a Napoleon pocket on the inside. The jacket has no thermal liner, but it does have a membrane. Now, a membrane in a wax cotton jacket works particularly well. If you go back to the olden days, in fact, when Belstaff was first bought by the Italians, they sold it without a waterproof membrane, and a wax cotton jacket is reasonably waterproof, but they realized fairly swiftly that that was not going to do in the modern world. They needed a membrane in addition to the wax cotton. But when you add a membrane inside a wax cotton material, you have something that performs far better than your average drop liner jacket. You have levels of waterproofing that are near laminated quality. In that, the problem with a drop liner jacket is that the water in heavy rain, in 2, 3, 4 hours rain, can soak into the fabric, and that can make the jacket feel very heavy. It can make you feel cold. It takes ages for the material to dry out. But the wax cotton keeps a lot of that rain out. So this is a jacket that really is almost never going to wet out. So you honestly could ride in this for 3 or 4 hours and you're not going to get wet, especially given that there's a membrane inside. So even though this is a classic old-fashioned looking jacket, on a membrane side, on a waterproofing side, it works incredibly well. From a protection standpoint, it is CE approved. It meets the A regulation. Now, that's the lowest of the 3 standards, but Belstaff have done this in the initial year because they had a huge range of jackets to get approved. It is very expensive. If you went for the higher level and failed, you'd have to test again. So that was financially too much of a burden for them. I think we will see over the coming years some of these jackets reaching an AA level, and I'm sure that's what Belstaff is going to go for. I think these jackets are pretty robust, particularly with the thicker weights of waxed cotton, but for now this is just an AA jacket. In terms of impact protectors, you've got D3O in the shoulders and the elbows. There's a pocket for a back protector. It doesn't come as standard. We would normally just fit a Furigans T8. Belstaff do their own D3O, but it's pretty much never available, so a Furigan protector is always an easy one to put in there. In terms of this padding, one of the things that distinguishes this from the Crosby, this is in essence, I suppose, just a slightly more fancy version of the Crosby. It's got a few added bells and whistles that you don't get on the Crosby, and one of those is this quilted padding on the shoulders and again here on the elbows. It's a lovely look. It's a very classic look. Does it add much? Well, in truth, not a lot. I suppose you could contend that if you landed on it, that might give a little bit of extra padding because there is a material in there that might take a bit of energy in an impact. If you're going down the road, however, that is another layer of material. It is going to give you an extra layer of abrasion resistance. So certainly this is not doing any harm. I think really it's there for aesthetics, but it's doing no harm, as I suggest. If you wanted to upgrade this jacket, the one thing that I think you could do, it's a very comfortable jacket. The armor works well, but with the new Ghost armor that's beer mat thin, that molds around the body, if you were going to be using this jacket a fair amount on the street, then I think that you would effect a useful benefit by changing the armor over and putting the Ghost in both the shoulders and the elbows. It does not come with a thermal liner. That never bothers us with a jacket like this because sometimes you're going to wear a roll neck jumper because you're going for a particular look. If you really want to stay warm, you might put electric underneath it. You could put a merino top. So it doesn't bother us that a jacket like this doesn't have a thermal liner. You could fit in the Lamfell vest or the Coventry in a jacket that Belstaff produced, but I really cannot see that there's going to be much of a benefit in that. Price-wise, it's £550. The Crosby is £475. That's £75 difference. You're getting a little bit of detailing here. I think you're getting a nicer fitment here, but really, that's up to you to decide. It's kind of the same jacket, but some people will prefer this. I think it is going to fit a little bit more nicely. Some people will just prefer this detailing. You're going to pay a few extra quid for it. So if you'd like to see more waxed cotton jackets, then visit the website motolegends.com. If you want to learn more about this particular jacket, then if you click on one of the links on the screen, sometimes they're up there, sometimes they're down there, that will take you directly to the relevant page on our website. There you can check out the spec in a little bit more detail, you can check on availability, and if you're really taken with the jacket, you can buy one there and then. Now when you buy from us, we try to make the process as simple, straightforward and risk-free as we possibly can. There's no delivery charge on anything you buy from us. If once having received something you want to return it for whatever reason, returns are free as well, and we give you a full 12 months in which to make up your mind. We have a better price promise than anyone in the business. John Lewis is rightly famed for its never knowingly undersold promise. We go one stage better. If you can find anybody selling anything that we sell at a price that is lower than ours, we will beat that retailer's price by 10%. If the retailer is in the EU and not in the UK, we will match their landed price. Now there are a few terms and conditions, nothing particularly onerous, but if you are going to price beat us, I suggest you visit the website and just check out what those terms and conditions are. If in the future you'd like to receive information from us about new products, then you should subscribe to our email bulletins, and you can do that by going to the website. At the top of every page, there's a piece of script that says newsletter sign up. Click on there, within seconds you'll be in business. In future you will receive email bulletins from us. If you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel because you would prefer to get your information like this, that is to say videographically, then we would be delighted if you wanted to become a subscriber, and you can do that by clicking on the button below. Now, we're recording this in 2020, and by the end of 2020, we're going to be giving away what we call a Steve McQueen tribute bike to somebody who is a subscriber to our YouTube channel. It's a lovely, very cute little bike. It's based on a Mutt 125cc. You can read about it on the front page of our website, but also on the home page of our YouTube channel. Finally, I'd like to make a play for our fabulous little shop here in Guildford. We're based about a mile from the centre of Guildford, a mile from the railway station. The shop itself is pretty small. It has a small footprint, but it is attached to our warehouse where we have more than £2 million worth of merchandise over 3 floors. Technically makes us the second largest motorcycle apparel shop in the country. But we think that we are far more than just the amount of merchandise we have here in the building. We're all about personal fitting. We're all about service. If you want to check us out, visit Trustpilot. We have the highest 5-star ranking in the business. Come and see us and we'll serve you only the finest Italian illy coffee, or we'll serve you proper Yorkshire tea in a proper teapot. And who knows, if you're lucky, you might even get one of Sean's mum's delicious motorcycle-shaped shortbread biscuits. Anyway, this has been Chris. I hope to talk to you again soon.